Hi, we are finishing up the semester. Can you believe we are in the very last week? So this is my last video. It's going to look a little different this week with the assignments. We don't have a discussion board. Your learning report is different, so I'll walk through all of that. So hopefully you watch this so that you can have a little more understanding. First, I'm just showing you, I went to the content page and then clicked on lesson 14 so that I could see all of these folders. So we're starting with the pre-gathering. My notes actually show, or in my note, I do a brief place where I show you what assignments are due which nights. So as you'll see here, you have the directions for a personal revelation assignment, and then here's where you actually go to do the assignment, and it shows the due date. Okay. It's due July 19th, so that's due this Wednesday night. And if you want to see directions, this assignment, I'm going to click on the directions. It gives you a chance to think about what revelations you've had over the course of the semester. So you watch something about revelations, read a quote, and then you choose a conference study, a conference talk to study. So you have these 6 choices, just pick one. You see here, choose one of the following conference talks to study. Click on it, read through it, and then reflect on your own revelation that you've had this semester. Download the template and answer questions about revelation. And it says how to, I guess I'll actually download it so I can see it. Okay. So just here, fairly easy. Type your answers in onto the form. How did this personal revelation impact you? So it's going to have you think of a time when you had personal revelation this semester. How did it impact you, and how has your testimony been strengthened or stronger because of that personal revelation? And so it wants you to talk like here. Just reflect on the personal revelation you've had as you read about different ways where you receive personal revelation, and really think about when you received revelation this semester. So that's that assignment due Wednesday night. Back to our list. Okay. Then you have your final course reflection. I think of this as kind of the big portfolio that wraps up the whole semester. In my note I said sometimes I think this is even more meaningful than the final exam. It's a chance for you to look at each week's lessons and what was one thing that you really learned and want to remember. So you have the directions here. That's where you actually go to submit. And you'll see here it's already started, but it is also due Wednesday night at 11 o'clock Mountain Time. So if I go to those directions, click here, download the template, and like it says, it's a lengthy assignment. It takes it's going to be the one that takes the most time this week, so I suggest starting right away. Start early in the week since you only have till Wednesday night to get it done. There are 4 parts. They're going to answer 2 questions about each lesson. So we've had 13 weeks of lessons, so there's going to be 2 questions for each of those 13. Okay, so a total of 26 questions you're answering. What is the most important thing you want to remember from lesson 1? And why is that the most important thing? What is the most important thing you want to learn from lesson 2? And why? Okay. And like it says here, in each learning report, you had to talk about what was the most important thing. And so read what you said in your learning reports, and you can follow these steps to get to those past learning reports. And remember, because some of that's been a couple months ago, so you might think, what was my most important thing I learned? Maybe you'll need to go into the material for lesson 2 and read through it again and be like, oh yeah, this is something that really stood out to me. And that was the most important thing I wanted to make sure to remember. And like, let's see here, part 2, you make connections. You answer these questions. Look at that, get the lesson topics. And how did your learning from one lesson impact another one? Did lesson 4 prepare you to learn more in lesson 5? Or how was earlier knowledge increased or added by a later lesson? Maybe lesson 6 added more to what you had already learned in lesson 5. Ponder your learning from the semester that involved other people. Think of the different times you've interacted with others. Discussion boards, speaking partner, a peer partner, you've had your gathering, and so for your logs, a lot of you have talked to others or taught others. So how is your learning enhanced, improved? So increasing your learning by interacting with other people. Part 3, think of the outcomes. And real quick, I want to point out, these 2 questions, you need to have at least 3 sentences. So I need 3 sentences or more. Part 3, once again, 3 sentences long. In what ways are you a more effective learner than you were when the course started? Tell me in 3 sentences an answer. Add a little more detail, elaborate, give a specific example. Those are ways to get those 3 sentences. Part 4, application, how you will apply or act on what you learned. It says here, once again, we have 3 sentences. What concepts will you continue to apply to your life? So even though the semester's over, is time management something you're going to keep working on? Financial, personal finances, is there something you're going to do to continue to have that be a focus? And how are you going to? You could say, yeah, I'm going to continue to improve my family relationships. Well, how? Be specific. So then, that's a lot of information. That is your final course reflection, and I love reading these to see everything that you've learned and what you think is most important from each of the lessons. You have your final exam practice test. You can take as many times as you want, but it ends on Wednesday night. And the final exam also is due Wednesday night. Oh, sorry, not Wednesday night, 21st. Okay, so these 2, final exam practice test and the final exam, are the 21st. Okay, so it's Friday night. So it's a little different. In the past, they've said everything's due Thursday night, but they're giving you that day, one more day after your gathering, to get it in by 11 o'clock at night on Friday night. So in my note, I tell you, remember, final exam, you can only use the notes that you've taken, and you'll see in the directions it talks about what you can use and cannot use. If you have questions or it's not clear, email me anytime. Post-course survey. This is similar to a learning report. Here's the directions, and here's where you actually submit it by Friday night. Then you have a final vocabulary exam, so you cannot use notes. And it ends on also Friday night. Then you have an end of course evaluation, okay, where you evaluate the course. So let me just get to one thing. I'm going to cover my face for a second. Okay, so this is where I take my notes that I post on our course. You'll see I kind of plot out, like it says, this week's assignments in sections, what's due Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night. This gives a little more detail, and you can also see it in the directions. But final exam practice, take as many times as you like, use your notes. Final exam, the only study aid. You can't use other people, you can't use the internet, the dictionary, you can only use your notes. Final vocabulary exam, you can not allow to use notes, or vocab charts, or a dictionary, so you cannot use notes on that one. And that's about everything if you have questions about notes. Okay, my last thing, I don't really have an English tip, since this is our last week, I just wanted to remind you, as I go into lesson 13, let me just show you one thing that my advice after this course is over. You don't have to do listening and speaking activities like you've been doing for your log, but it would be wise for you to keep on doing those to improve your English. It'll help your skills in listening and speaking. So with that, I would just recommend you keep this list and continue. Maybe each day you try to do one it would be a good habit to help you improve your English. And I know a lot of you, that's such a critical goal for you, and I have been so proud to see how far you've come, and I would hate for you to all of a sudden stop progressing with your English. So I would recommend you continue to do this. And I wish you all the best in whatever you continue on with your education. Continue to do pathways. Maybe your goal is to then go on and do BYU online, or go to BYU Idaho, go right to Rexburg and go to their campus. Maybe your goal is to get into another institution, or maybe you just want to do the pathway. Whatever it is, I wish you the best success. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And please keep in touch. You have my email address. Keep that. I would love to hear updates on how life is going. Or if you have problems in your other courses and just need to talk, feel free to email me. Okay, bye everyone.